I tell you why I can't find you. Every time I go out to your place, you gone fishing.
How you know?
Well, there's a sign upon your door.
Uh-huh.
Gone fishing.
News Talk 1400 WOND welcomes you to SHEPP on Fishing, a program tailored to bringing the latest news and tips on the world of fishing to your front door, as well as disclosing the area's hot spots for finding that large catch. Whether you're an expert or novice, SHEPP is guaranteed to reel you into this popular sport. Our phone lines are open for your questions and comments at 927-1100. That's 927-1100. Now, here's noted columnist and respected authority on the world of fishing, Michael Shepard.
Hi, this is Shepp talking fishing on air, covering South Jersey from Fortescue to Long Beach Island and offshore. Here's what's going on. First, good morning, James Raybeck. James is at the controls here this morning. Thank you for being here.
Hello, no problem.
You're a fine man.
Thank you, sir.
A little chill this morning when we come in, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
A little chilly.
Frost on the windshield. Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. 5:30 in the morning came real quick, and I'm like, ooh, that is frosty.
Yeah, I thought I saw some snow.
All right, I have in studio this morning Adam Aguiar. He was a professor at Stockton College, the Stockton College of New Jersey. Professor Adams, first I want to thank you might hold a couple of SHEPP talking fishing records. First of all, for a distance traveled to get here from Tinker Falls. And then for preparation, your game plan here is pretty awesome.
That's because I'm just so nervous. Excited, but very nervous, Shep.
Well, then now I know why you're a professor. You do some research and set up a program.
Anyway.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So first of all, thanks for coming here. And
yeah, absolutely. This is great.
And then kind of tell me. You gave me this game plan, but kind of tell me what you do with it. You have a class at Stockton. You teach a class or classes at Stockton, and what are they? What's it about? Let me put it easy.
Well, most of my classes at Stockton are biology based. They're like cells and molecules, biodiversity and evolution, genetics, cell biology and biophysics. I got my PhD in molecular biology and genetics, but I'm a big fisherman at heart. I mean, that's why as you can tell.
Yeah, we have a professor, but when I saw him pull up in his truck, he's got a rigged out truck, so a beach buggy. So
yeah.
So I know you spent a little time on the beach.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, that's what propelled me to get my PhD in the first place. I wanted to go into teaching so that I could have enough time to actually fish. Oh. But anyway, with the really fun course, the really fun course that I teach is specifically focused on fishing. At Stockton, they have this series of courses called General Studies courses that they offer. And because it's a liberal arts college, it helps broaden the aspect of different subjects that students can get an exposure to. So it's a rigorous process to get one passed by a professor, but it could be on anything. So about a year and a half ago, I made an application to teach it on fishing, and specifically striped bass fishing for that matter. Awesome. So after it got passed, I actually conducted it this past fall, and I think it was a success. I didn't get the student evaluations back yet, but a lot of students were really pleased with the course, I felt so. And I had so much fun teaching it, and Stockton's a great place to work, especially because they offer things like this.
It's kind of my place right now, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, it's so great.
Yeah.
It's so great. I mean, and the fact that they're doing things like they bought the showboat and all this other stuff, it's great. Yeah. So
well, they run. I guess they have a piece of that golf tournament that's out there, the LPGA tournament, which is one of the highlight events of the summer in sports. Yeah, they run it. They sponsor all the top women golfers in the world are here for a week.
Fishing and golf, how can you go wrong?
Yeah, well, you can see some of the top fishing areas right from the golf course. So I'm watching. I don't know which way to look sometimes when I'm going to the golf tournament. Is anybody out in the boat or are they watching? Yeah. So how'd you get to this kind of unique position? How did you, a little bio on yourself. How old are you, first of all? You look very young to be a professor. Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's because I shaved. A lot of people say I look older, but I'm 31. I'm 31, and I've been teaching now at Stockton for 4 years. I got my degree from University of Delaware when I was 27 or 28. Mm-hmm. How I got here was really based on my passion for striped bass fishing. I became an addict on it, really, like beyond that of what the point of which, most people say an addict is. when I was about 12, 13 years old. When I was a young kid, my grandfather used to take me to Red Bank and fish for snappers. But then once I discovered the casino fishing pier, rest in peace now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, after Sandy took it down.
Right. Yeah.
I ended up living there like every day pretty much, and I was the manager there for a while too at the fishing area of it anyway. And
so they still have a fishing area at the casino pier? Or
not now.
Okay.
No. After Sandy took it down,
okay.
Yeah, it ruined the whole thing, and I guess I don't even think they have plans to rebuild it further out or to have a fishing component to it anymore. But while it lasted, it was truly, in my opinion, and I've been in the striped bass game for a good 15, 17 years now, and it was one of the best, if not the best place for bass fishing in Jersey. I mean, especially when the bunker came around in like 2004, 2005. I mean, it was an advantage above all else because of the distance out and the vantage point it provided. Oh, okay. Yeah. And the vantage point that it provided. Because you know how jetties and groins on the surf, they provide that to some extent, but this was like twice as good. We'd be able to reach bunker pods and pods of fish coming in, migrating.
That you couldn't hit from the beach?
You couldn't even hit from the jetties. So, and there'd be a lot of controversy between the clubs and stuff over should pier fish count in tournaments and all this stuff, because it was so productive. It was just that productive. But I did well at a young age striped bass fishing, and I really tended to enjoy it. And I enjoy it for a couple different reasons. I mean, one, there's the mystique of what you're going to catch on the line.
Yeah,
but
you never know what you're going to when you walk out the door. You never know, right?
Yeah, but also from a poetic standpoint, it's exciting and yet relaxing at the same time. Although I do have to say that stereotype that a lot of, I guess, laymen have about striped bass fishing, that you just put your rod in a spike, you sit down and have a bunch of beer, and you just chill out. It's not that. If you want to be competitive with it. Yeah. Just like with anything, if you want to be if you want to be in the NFL, you got to train every day,
sticker?
Right?
You plug or dead
everything,
sticker?
Everything. I try to do my best to increase the catch ratios of my big bass, and when I say big bass, I mean like anything over 25 pounds. Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to target like quantity, but now I'd rather go for quantity of quality. So
what's your biggest?
57.
Okay, mine. I caught 3 35-pounders, and I can't get over the 35-pound mark.
Oh, you will. You just keep fishing, guaranteed. But I fish every day, and so
when I go fishing, I go out the door for kingfish because that's my old, all my old mentors. That's what that was their favorite. So I mean, they caught striped bass too, but so when I catching a 1.5 pound kingfish, it means as much to me sometimes as a nice. What's that?
That's the 57.
Oh, baby.
There. Yeah, that one.
I'm looking at a picture on a.
I wish I could show the listeners.
I'm so impressed by the research here and the high level of.
As far as the kingfish go, kingfish were a good little break for me in the summer when I was a kid. I remember that.
Yeah.
And they actually taste a lot better than I thought they would.
Why. That's one of the reasons.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons. All right, so you started. You say your grandfather got you started. Well, guess what? So my grandfather got me started too.
Really?
Yes, in the back bays of Margate. So where were you when he got you started?
And Red Bank, actually.
Yeah.
I wish I could know the hospital. It's in Red Bank. It's right near the 35 bridge, actually. It's not coming to me off the top of my head, but there's a pier there, a little park.
Yeah.
And they used to have little fishing tournaments for kids back then. And there wouldn't be stripers at the time we'd go, but there'd be little bluefish, snappers.
Yeah.
And
the Shrewsbury Rocks are right off there too, in the ocean, where they have. I think they have good striped bass and flounder fishing.
Oh yeah, the Shrewsbury
party boats and all that. Yeah.
Shrewsbury Rocks are an awesome place for boaters.
My cousin lived in Red Bank for a while, so I'm a little familiar with that. And I think I know that bridge you're talking about. It's like you can fish like under it a little bit, like the side of it.
The 35. Yeah, you could. Yeah, I like that place as a last resort to get away from the crowds during March and April when there's bass around the rivers. It's a great go-to spot because you get away. But now probably now it's not a go-to spot. Everybody knows now. But the Shrewsbury Rocks, like you just mentioned, that's an awesome place for boaters because when everything's filtering out of the Raritan, bass tend to congregate there because of all the structure. And the structure mixed with the current passing over, I mean, they're ambush opportunistic predators, so that's what they want.
Yeah, and they're lazy too, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
They lay there and wait for
I wouldn't call them lazy. I'd call them Opportunistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
They lay in wait, right?
Yeah, it's smart. You know, it's smart.
And
they let the current do the work.
You know, like I say, he had a boat, and we used to go out the. What's the inlet there? The Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook.
Oh, okay.
Around Sandy Hook.
Yeah. It's really just the mouth of the bay because it's not.
Raritan Bay.
Yeah, Raritan Bay, exactly.
It. And you can look over and you see New York City over. Pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, it is. And actually, bringing that up, the Sandy Hook rips at the tip of the hook, which I'm also probably going to get in trouble for mentioning. But they're a really productive spot. This fall, actually, it was probably one of the only productive spots around the area up there. There's bass to upper 20.
For stripers, you're talking about.
For stripers. Yeah. Bluefish were hit and miss around there. Well, around the whole place, but Sandy Hook rip was really good for striped bass from land. Good. From land. Yeah. Bucktails off the rip.
Off the point?
Yep, off the point.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's good.
Yeah, actually, these are the ones that work best for me.
What are
they?
Other
people.
What are they?
Specific bucktails made by Svetlana. It's a new company that.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me take a look.
Check them out.
I will. Svetlana?
Yeah, Svetlana. Yeah.
That sounds like an ice skater.
Yeah, no,
it's like a Russian ice skater.
It's the woman's name. Yeah. Svetlana bucktails. They're pretty nice, right?
These two are going to do an axle here in a minute. These things.
Yeah, I just started using them this fall as just as an experiment.
Wow,
they work better than the other ones.
This black one's really cool.
Yeah, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice.
So you say this is a local guy makes them?
Yeah, local guy.
Where's he located? Oh, on Long Beach Island?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Svetlana,
yep. Yeah, they'll be in bait shops.
Her last name should be Bogan Sky or something like that. Yeah, Svetlana. Okay, that's cool. What else? You got?
In my box here, I brought to show you. I don't have any other stuff that worked at the rip
during
the fall. However, at the rip this fall, there what was productive were soft plastics like those rubber shads.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really productive, as well as smaller plugs like the SP. The SP minnow, which is, but a lot of the SP thing I think has to do with so many people using it that you have an increased percentage of fish caught on those because so many people are using it.
A lot of people using it.
Yeah, but those three things were the best at the rip this fall.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're not just the classroom lecturer. You're out there knee deep a lot of times, or waist deep.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I even take the students out. I would like to take them out for striped bass specifically, but that would require all types of paperwork and permission slips. However, I did take them to the local pond and lake over at Stockton, and
Lake Fred.
Yep, I taught them how to cast conventional reels. Yep. Some people didn't know how to cast spinning, so I explained that. And I also gave extra credit for anyone that caught fish. And actually, one of my students, Owen, he caught a largemouth, so he got extra credit.
Okay. He got an A? He got an A for that one?
No, he didn't get an A in the class, but yeah, he got extra credit for that. Yeah. And I also provided extra credit, a couple points, for anyone who could provide me picture and video proof if they did catch any striped bass.
Proof is important.
I know, and that's why I wanted video. That's why I wanted video. I require video for that.
I run the press fishing contest, and we send these. We do it on the internet. Mm-hmm. So, but then I have to call where they weigh it in. They got to take it to a bait and tackle shop first.
Yeah, exactly.
And weigh it. Yeah, but. All right, so that's cool. So, so where else do you fish besides?
I fish the whole Striper Coast, and it's pretty much the whole migration pathway on the East Coast for stripers. Mm-hmm. I have not fished the West Coast at all for them. They've been introduced there in 1983, so
they're from here.
Yep.
I know.
And there's also
I know a couple guys who are involved in that.
Yep. Oh, really? That's good.
They took them out by train or something like that.
Yeah, that's really. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I got to look more into that. And then I haven't freshwater fished for striped bass before. Yeah. But, everywhere from North Carolina to northern Massachusetts. I traveled the whole year searching for them, usually the big ones.
Yeah.
However, in the beginning of the month, I try to get I have a monthly streak going of at least one striped bass caught from land a month.
Wow.
Not a keeper. That's a little hard, but
how long?
39 months in a row.
39 months in a row? You've caught a striped bass.
I've caught a striped bass. Whether it's 10 inches.
So that's over 10
inches. I'm not saying I caught a keeper every month. I'm just saying it's just a striped bass. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
I have a guy comes in, his name, who tags and releases fish. His name is Bucktail Willie, and he's doing it all. That's the kind of stuff he talks about. I don't know what his monthly streak is, but he's way up there in tagging.
He probably
fish.
He's probably up higher than he would think.
Get you two guys connected.
Oh,
maybe come in and
well,
talk
as far
to
as tagging goes, I have some stuff I brought you too.
Cool,
Mike. I got 2 examples of tagging. One that I did myself. I tagged a bass in.
This is the paperwork.
Yeah, this is the paperwork from a tag return sent back to me from the Littoral Society.
Oh, okay.
I tagged a small fish. It was about 15.
Is this the tag that's on there? This?
No. That's
okay,
just the stamp that I got as a.
Okay.
I guess that's a prize.
Okay.
Yeah, but I tagged a small fish. It was 15, 16 inches at the opening of Barnegat Bay, and then 4 months later they caught it in the Merrimack River up in Massachusetts. So it traveled over 300 miles in 4 months, and it gained 2 or 3 inches. I mean, I just think that's spectacular.
That is. That's awesome.
Isn't that information that tagging provides is just awesome?
This is the kind of stuff that has to be done, though.
Oh, exactly.
In order to get better science.
You know what? To be honest, I tried to get a program started at Stockton with the tagging thing. However, in order for it to be, I guess, data worthy enough to have papers published about it, which is something I would need in order to continue the project, right? Mm-hmm. It would have to have data with the continuous location points of the bass traveling. So, unfortunately, cheap tags like this, although they're awesome in the fact that they give you a sense of where the fish started and ended, it doesn't tell you where in the middle it went. The ones that give you that information are electronic or sonic tags, which I also teach my class about in class. But they're very, very expensive.
So say somebody caught 6 bass.
Yep.
Here.
Yep.
And then at different points it was caught. I mean, that wouldn't count as far as like, let's say you get a tag return from Manasquan, and the next one is from Long Island, or the next one is from.
No, it does provide data. It definitely provides important data, but not. I wouldn't say data enough to create a paper worthy of being published in like a journal.
Oh, okay.
I'd target.
I see what you're saying.
So
that's one of the things that bothers me about the way we get the regulations, the way they kind of come down, I guess you say, is it just doesn't seem like they have.
I agree.
The sufficient tracking systems and data.
Oh, I 100% agree. And again,
so I'm always a little interested in when I asked you a couple questions about that. I was kind of interested.
That's why I wish that these sonic tags were a lot less expensive, because if they were,
oh really?
But there's another problem with them too, and that goes as far as the time that the fish has to be out of water and the amount of stress you put on it, because you actually surgically induce. Surgically implant the actual sonic tag, as opposed to these cheaper plastic tags. You just poke the fish with a needle.
And let them go.
In fact, here's the other tagging example that I have for you. This fish was tagged by a different organization, and it was tagged in. It was tagged by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services in 1985 at 25 inches. And I caught it in 2004 off the Casino Pier in Seaside Heights at 39 pounds.
Wow.
Okay?
How much later? How much time ensued?
Since it was tagged from 19 years. But it was tagged at 25 inches, which meant that by its size and by the scale assessment, the rings on the scale age assessment, it was 4 or 5 years old. So by the time I caught it, it was 21 years old. Okay. And actually, for a bass that age, its weight was actually low. But that just goes to show you that bass size has variability, just like human size. Mm-hmm. I mean, humans can be, at adulthood, they could be 6'9" or 5'2". You know what I mean? Right. But anyway, here's the information on that, and here's the actual tag that came out of the fish. Cool. Now you see how it's plated. I know the listeners can't see it, but it's a plated,
like a little T.
Yeah, so that one took a little bit more time to implant into the striper. It may not be a sonic tag, but at the same time, that tag is more durable than the other just needle implanted, other cheaper plastic tags.
I'm sorry. I'm reading the information.
Okay, go ahead. I think it's awesome too. I
is.
was really excited about this fish when I caught it.
All right, can we take a break right now? James, take a break, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
All right.
This is Shep Talking Fishing on Air with Adam Aguiar.
Got it.
A professor at Stockton, Stockton College of New Jersey.
Yeah.
We'll be back here on News Talk 1400 WOND here in a couple minutes. Okay, we'll be back after the break. Thank you.
News Talk 1400 WOND.
How about if I talk about some of your fishing buddies? You mentioned Dante or Paul or whatever.
All right, cool.
Are we on? Oh, I'm sorry. Professor at Stockton. And so who are some of your fishing pals? We started to talk about it here a minute ago, but...
I'd have to say, well, I have a bunch of... I mean, the people that you meet in the fishing universe is just immense. And they come of all different types of personalities.
Yes, they do.
And that's not always a good thing, but I mean, it is a very exciting thing. I mean, an entertaining thing. But some people that I've run into have taught me a great deal, not just about fishing, but about life. A bunch of people from the Casino Pier when I was growing up there, like Ray Nebus, Bill Fisher, Rodney Erdo. Not only taught me about fishing, but about life when I was a kid.
Yeah, I got a bunch of those same kind of guys too.
Yeah,
mentors,
exactly. And then as far as fishing goes,
almost all gone now for me.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. But most of them were older at the time, so it's true. I probably have to look forward to that. But anyway, as far as the fishing, just the fishing aspect goes, I haven't learned from anybody even close to the amount as I've learned from Dante Sorienti. He's one of those, like...
he's all over the place up there. I mean, he's everywhere. Long Beach Island, he's like the legend up there. He's everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, definitely.
Out on boats, out on the beach.
Definitely. He taught me everything, almost everything I know about plugging, and a great deal. He enhanced my chunking game a lot more, too, chunking for striped bass. But, definitely, he's number one in my book as far as, striped bass fishermen go, and I owe him a lot. So
I did a little story on him one time.
Oh yeah. With Magic Man Guide Service.
Yeah, but not that he caught he got a cut or something, and he got a hook and
the 49-pounder that he got in the snack bunker.
Yeah, and he had like a hook in his hand.
Putting that story in my
and he goes and he keeps fishing. He gets a 45-pound bass.
Yeah. I love that story. Yeah.
So
I was up north at the time, and he cut his foot running out of the house.
That's what it was. He cut his foot.
It was bleeding all over the place, and then he ran out into the bunker pot anyway.
Yeah, and. I made Margaret O'Brien check it out, make sure the story was true. Margaret O'Brien from Jingles. And she said, that was true. Yeah, he showed me it was true.
Yeah, his foot was all messed up.
That's right. So you might question that,
Yeah.
But no, he's got the fantastic reputation. I know he's mates on a lot of boat and on some of the boats, and helps run these tournaments and all that.
Yeah, and it's not just striped bass either.
He's offshore.
I predominantly fish with him like striped bass, but offshore and every other thing, even freshwater. I mean, it's like that's all he does. It's amazing. He catches everything. It's just really cool.
Who else?
Bunches of guys. One of my friends, Bob Jones. He's a great guy. He's actually started making plugs.
Oh, okay.
With different paint patterns on them. He's new to it,
like
but
a torpedo-looking thing.
See how nice that pencil popper looks.
Sure. Oh yeah, it's a little fat.
Yeah, so I think he's doing really good for first.
This one you can cast a little bit, right?
Yeah, really. And then as far as experts go,
I'll tell you what, great hooks on this, man.
I switch off the hooks.
That's what I was going to say.
I switch off the
hooks. They usually don't come that way.
Usually plug makers, no matter how good they are, even if they're black label plugs, they don't put owner hooks on them. If you're going for big fish, let me stress, you don't want to use, especially the generic factory hooks.
We're on the radio. Describe what you have. Tell people what you got.
So usually plugs will come with those generic types or with VMCs. Now VMCs are okay if you want to target, smaller fish. But if you want to get bigger fish and you want to make sure they don't come off by the hook opening up, you want to use owner hooks. You want to take whatever hooks you have on your plugs off and replace them with owner hooks. Now, I'm not the best in anything, but that's one thing I know, okay? And I learned that from experience.
I'm looking at these across the table, and you can see right away.
Yeah, that's a Black Label pencil made by Bob Brennan. He's an expert at making these. He's making them for like 20 years.
So where's he located, Bob Brennan?
Lacey. Okay. Yeah, he sells his plugs in like all the local
Black Label. Is that his
Black?
brand?
Bob Brennan.
I mean, what's it?
His company, Black Label Plugs.
Label.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yep. And I brought my two favorite types of his
sparkles
plugs
in there too, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, he makes all different types.
Look, I hooked myself. Don't.
That's how sharp they are. Yeah, this is a swimmer.
You're still nervous. He's handing me these.
Yeah, I know.
Plugs and
the hooks
like
are shaking everywhere.
Yeah.
I know.
Come on, relax. Relax.
But yeah, his swimmers are my favorite to use.
What else?
So yeah, you want to throw these during the bunker runs, May and June.
Yeah, that's what they look like.
Yep. They come in a variety of colors and
pretty
everything.
Pretty cool.
But that's also something I teach the students in my class about the colors of plugs. People overemphasize the importance of color at night, for example, and
it seems like everyone wants to do black plugs or something like that.
Yeah.
So I always say, well, black plugs at night, but they work.
Well, here's the thing. It's interesting because striped bass eyes are actually very similar to ours. They have two different types of eye cells, rods and cones, like we do.
Okay, now we're getting a little classroom lesson here. Okay, well, good.
If you want to hear it,
that's exactly what I want.
Okay,
to hear.
okay.
I just want people to know that it's coming from somebody who knows what he's talking about. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well,
made a study of some of this stuff. So okay, so go ahead.
So striped bass eyes, they have two different types of cells, just like at us. We have two cells, one type called rods and one type called cones. The cone cells, they detect different colors of light, while the rod cells detect different intensities of light. Okay? You probably notice, like, if you walk into a dark room or a cave or when you're out at night somewhere, it's hard for you to tell the differences, distinguish between different colors, right? Mm-hmm. Would you say so, Mike?
Yeah.
Well, for bass, it's the same way. And really what happens is the rod cells, which detect different intensities of light, they become more predominantly used at night than the cone cells. So I'm not saying color at night on your plugs and your offerings it's completely useless, but it's less important than, let's say, the size or the motion of the plug. That's number one. That should be people's number one priority in trying to tailor what offering to throw at a striped bass at night. And the color the last. And another, the one difference, though, between, well, not one, but a difference between striped bass eyes and human eyes is that they don't have the muscles to focus their lenses, so they can't see far distances and focus as well. Because of that, you want to exploit that property on the striped bass by making sure you try to put your offering right in front of their face. Unlike us, they can't see really, really far distances.
Okay.
Yeah. Although they could detect prey and other things really far away.
I always had this little theory of striped bass that they have trouble, because they have big eyes or something, that they have trouble seeing in the daytime and they can see better at night, that the sun kind of affects their eyesight. Is that an old tale, or is it have some?
Yeah, I haven't read any literature on that per se, but I could imagine that could be somewhat of a case, because I know when striped bass are in like chocolatey water, like say a storm rolls in and turns up the surf, or you have a lot of rain runoff from the rivers, they stay in that for long enough. You could tell that their eyes are a little strained from trying to focus, or the debris hitting their eyes. I mean, they don't have the same type of cleaning apparatus that we do, Yeah. So. Yeah,
a lot of other fish, they get like bug-eyed,
So there's definitely irritant type of events that happen to their eyes.
Very cool. You mentioned something a couple minutes ago about the scales. What's that has something to do with how you tell the age of a fish?
Yeah. Say we're to cut a tree in half, cross-sectionally, right? Cross-sectionally. You'd see the rings on a tree, and the tree rings can, tell you the tree's age by counting them, right? It's just pretty much a symbolic of the different types of nutrients and whatnot that the tree has absorbed throughout the year. Scales can be used for the same thing. In fact, one of the ways I confirm that fish that I caught that was tagged was indeed that age. Was I sent in a scale sample from it?
Okay.
And they assessed the rings. One thing I learned from research from doing for this class, to prepare and teaching the students stuff, was there's also a better, more reliable, more interesting way of assessing their age. There's a little component within their skull called an otolith.
Really?
Yep. It's a calcium buildup over time. They take calcium out of the water and from what they're eating over time, and it builds up within their skull. And they use it predominantly for balance and other functions. But the thing is that it also has rings called annuli. And those rings can be used for age assessment as well, which are actually more accurate than the scale situation.
Wow.
Also, you can determine what toxins and pollutants were in the environment that particular striped bass migrated through by analyzing what composes the rings of its otolith.
Now, where's that located?
In the skull, in the base of the skull, kind of like in the back of the middle of the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. Yeah, Professor, you gave us a little lesson there. That's
black
cool.
drum most fish actually do have them, but the black drum have really big ones. Theirs get really big. I know my friend from Grumpy's, Ponytail Mike. He caught a monster black drum a couple years ago, and he took the otolith out, right, and he made a necklace out of it.
Oh, they do seem to have fun at Grumpy's.
Oh yeah, they're great guys.
Grumpy
great
itself and all that.
Yeah, great guys.
And
great
the weather
guys.
idiots
Carrico.
that he writes about.
Yep.
And that's Then one of them, Mike is the guy they bust on all the time, right?
Yeah. I don't know. They bust on Grumpy a lot too.
Do they?
Yeah.
All right, so what else? What are the cool things about striped bass? Let's see if I got about 100. I'll tell you what, we got about three programs worth of stuff you gave me here. So you got to come back.
How about
you got to come back. So okay, what other stuff about striped bass? What makes them cool, unique? Let's see.
Well, I just
nares, ears, eyes, lateral lines. I mean, you highlighted some stuff. What are nares?
It's the nostrils, really.
Okay.
The reason I bring up these structural components about the striped bass is because I like the students in the class to understand what makes them up, so that if they have a better understanding about what makes them up, they can exploit their strengths and weaknesses and better tailor their angling approach to catching them. And it's the truth. I mean, as far as the lateral line goes, that's an organ or piece of an organ system that spans the lateral side of their body, and it has sensory hair cells within pits of the lateral line that send information to the bass's brain.
Really?
Yeah. About any vibrations in the local water environment, and that helps it not only orientate itself more properly, but also detect prey and predators that are in the area. And that's one of the reasons why when you're fishing in a pod of bunker, and you snag a bunker and the bunker's wounded and it falls out of the pod with all the active healthy ones. Yeah. Now this one that you just snagged is sending out distress signals.
Snag and drop, they call it.
Yeah, it's sending out distress signals. So the bass all of a sudden realize what's going on. There's a wounded one in the area because of all the weird, frantic vibrations that the bunker, the menhaden, is sending out. So the bass will target that one above the others more immediately. As far as their ears go, they're built into their skulls without any external openings, but their hearing and their tactile, that means their touch, are entangled into one type of sensory system. So their lateral line, which is, if you think about it, it's kind of like touch, right? It's built into, because it's the hair sensory cells sensing vibrations in the water, right? That is built into their auditory system within the base of their head. So they can, sense a lot of things going on through that mechanism.
Wow.
Yep.
So the characteristic, not trademark, but the look of the striper, it's not just decoration, right? It's
not all those stripes, but there's one lateral line and one of the stripes that spans down each side, each of its sides. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So what is the main one that goes down?
Yeah, it's the main one. You can see there's little white dashes in it. Yeah. You can see it.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. And their smell and their taste are also pretty interesting too.
Well, what about
them? Their nostrils are tied in directly to their mouth, and their their taste sensing cells and their smell sensing cells are so sensitive that if I were to relate us, humans as an analogy, if we could smell something up to 12 feet away, they can over miles away. And another thing I found interesting about their mouths is that their taste buds, to a great degree, are also located on the outside of their lips. So have you ever, Mike, let me ask you something. Have you ever had a fish, a striper, for instance, take one of your offerings, maybe bait or a plug, and just kind of mouth it and then take off?
Oh, yeah.
You ever wonder, like, maybe you did something wrong or something? It's not really that. It's that they weren't aggressive enough to inhale it completely, and the taste buds on the outside of their lips gave the bass information that it's not something that tastes good. So whether it was a frozen piece of bunker,
I see. Okay.
Yeah, or a plug that wasn't real, wasn't a real piece of bait that they'd eat, they spit it out because at that point they know they don't want it. So that's what happens a lot of times with bass mouthing baits and stuff.
A little fail-safe thing going on there, right? Yeah, a little self-protection.
Yeah. But also another thing that's really good about the smell and exploiting that property is a little while ago we were talking about the water becoming chocolate milk after, like, say, a big storm or rain runoff. Well, in that type of situation, you don't want to throw a plug or a moving object or have a live bait on. The reason being is because just like if we were in a room trying to locate a steak when there's a bunch of fog, right? You can't see the steak. So what type of sense are you going to rely on?
Yes.
Your smell, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So in that kind of situation, when you have a lot of muddy water and it's really turbid, you want to use a stationary bait that doesn't move, like a clam or a bunker chunk, that gives off a bunch of odor.
They find their way to it.
And they find their way to it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So I try to, teach the students that. And
so okay, so I'm getting an education here, so this is cool. But when you so you're in a classroom. What's it like? I mean, how's it set up? Are you actually in a classroom, or are you you go outside, or are the students sitting around in chairs, or how's it work?
Yeah, they're usually sitting around in chairs. And I'm at the front of the classroom, and I pretty much just I put together PowerPoints ahead of time. That's my preferred method of lecturing. But I tie in a whole bunch of different, I'd say, activities for them to do. Whether it's certain videos that I
specifically. Are they all on computers, or they have the old-fashioned blackboards?
Oh no, yeah, we have Blackboard, and we have all different types of projecting systems and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I, especially in that class, I let them interact with me to a great extent. So I let them use their phones and their media devices to look things up when we're having classroom discussions.
Well, I imagine that would be a big part of it.
Oh yeah, and I bring in props just like I did for you today. But I also have them on certain days, like maybe once every 2 weeks, I'll have a hands-on kind of activity. Like 1 week, I taught them about the different types of knots that are used for different reasons in not just striped bass fishing, but different types of fishing. Now, I'm not an expert on like freshwater, but as far as the main knots go, I introduced them to the students, and then I actually had them tie knots. I brought in, clippers, scissors, all different types of leader, braid. I explained to them the different properties of braid and the advantages and disadvantages to it compared to, mono and fluorocarbon line. And then I had them tie in different knots, and they seemed to enjoy it. You
have to tie different knots for the different the braid in particular.
Yeah. Especially when you're splicing two together. I mean, I tend to stay away from like things like a blood knot. But uni to uni.
No granny knots in the class.
No. For as far as the splicing goes, I taught them predominantly uni to uni knots, and then for different diameter, lines of drastically different diameter. I showed them the Albright knot and then Alberto's knot, which I'm a fan of.
Alberto's knot, huh?
Yep, crazy Alberto's knot. It's a modified version of the Albright knot. It just goes back down.
I know that one.
Yep. Yeah, and then I also teach.
That's for the braid?
Yeah, that's for tying two different lines of, lines of different diameter together.
Oh, okay.
Although if you're really good with the uni to unis, you could get away with that. Yeah. But then there's also dropper loops. I taught them how to tie them and apply teasers, and when you might not want to do that. And You know.
Yeah. Charlie Zames taught me how to make it. Charlie Zames is an old-time fisherman from around, originally from Pennsylvania, and then he opened up a place down here called Angler's Roost in Margate. And he introduced me to
dropper
loops. Okay, so what else?
You want to ask about the stingray, Mike?
Yeah, the stingray and the deformed, and you got
before we get off this striped topic, the
Adam,
Quasimodo here, you mean?
Yeah, Quasimodo. Show me a picture of a deformed striper, big hump on the back.
Yeah.
What causes that? I mean, what is it exactly?
Well, just a little bit of background story about that fish. I think it was like 10 pounds. It was a smaller fish. It was back in the day, back in like 2002. It was off the pier, and the thing about the pier is another advantage to it is I'd be able to fish for striped bass underneath the pier, like cast my rod underneath the pier with chunks of bunker or even mackerel, and I could let it sit there without having to worry about any garbage fish taking it, like skates or sea robins. And I'd let it sit there, and then I'd pull these things out, and no one else was catching anything. So I exploited that, and then one day I pulled that one out, and everyone at the pier, and I didn't know any better either, but I didn't exactly agree with them. They were speculating that thing's back, which, by the way, for the listeners, is curved in an S shape, like worse than somebody with scoliosis, if you could envision that. It's like
exactly
the Superman S.
Scoliosis is just what it looks like.
Its spine is all morphed.
Yeah.
And some of the people at the pier were speculating that, maybe I broke its back against a piling. But I knew that wasn't the case. But after some research and stuff, I found out that that's one of the few symptoms of a specific striped bass disease called mycobacteriosis. It's caused by a type of bacteria, and
they pick up in the water somewhere at
I'm sure,
some polluted
Mike,
water.
Yeah, you've heard of fin rot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fin rot's another one of the symptoms.
With the rash,
Exactly. Fin rot is just necrosis or tissue death of the outside skin of the fish. Mm-hmm. This is another symptom of it. Yeah. And there's a third, actually, main one that they have these little tumor-like cysts grow inside their organs called granulomas.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's pretty. You don't want to eat anything like that.
No. Well, how about with the rash? Or the
you really should. It's not recommended to eat anything.
So put them back.
Yeah, put them back.
Okay.
Give them to somebody you don't like.
Oh. You didn't say that.
No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do something like that.
All right. So I'm still fascinated with the actual classroom stuff that you do. We talked about so you kind of describe some of the as you put on the sheet that you gave me here, unique features of their internally, the skeleton, gills, air bladder, mouth. Yep. We talked about some of that. Any other things that like unique to stripers that might help people understand their habits or how to catch them or what their life is? Anything else that you might think is. What's the purpose of it? Is it to just teach young people? Are they mostly younger people in your class?
Yes, it is mostly younger people.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
like college age kids.
Yeah, and it's a mix of different majors too, because it's a general studies course. So it's not just students with a science type of background. That's why I had to teach like general and basic things before, and then build on them to more specific things. But yeah, the main. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons that I wanted to tailor the course around, but the main one is kind of based on something that how I look at striped bass fishing, and that's really to convey that any recreational or competitive aspect of life, for that matter, can be approached as a science, and applying logical reasoning to it can improve your performance in that particular activity drastically. So if you want to be good at something, you don't look at it like the stereotype I told you about before. A fisherman is somebody with a beer and a rod and a spike, in the sand. It's not that. There's really a lot of dangerous things that if you want to take it to the top level and catch like a lot of big bass, you got to do things that other people aren't willing to do, and go to places where people aren't willing to go. Like the tip of Barnegat Inlet, for example. There's like jagged moss-covered rocks or algae-covered rocks out there, really dangerous. I've had friends fall and break collarbones. Mm-hmm. I have a story about the South Jetty where there was a pilot whale carcass caught between two rocks. A wave, get this, a wave comes, dislodges it, and washes it over my rock. And I fall, I get clipped, it breaks apart in back of me because it was rotting away. It stunk to high hell. Wow. And then there was other fishermen. There's about 4 or 5 other fishermen.
So it kind of
out
knocked
there.
you down?
Yeah, it knocked me down. I didn't go into the inlet, thank God, but I fell into the rocks and I chipped my rod. So that was a disaster. But this gives you a sense of the lack of camaraderie as well, because the 4 fishermen at the tip of the jetty just turn around, look at me, and then just look away. They didn't even ask if I... Yeah, yeah. So,
That's not been my experience. Guys I know around here, they would drop everything. Come.
Well, your friends, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I was by myself. I didn't know the guys, so
Right.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. We got one last break, and then you want to tell me about this big stingray that you caught.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Be back. This is SHEPP Talking Fishing on Air. News Talk 1400 WOND. Take another break. We'll be back in a couple minutes with Adam Aguiar, professor at Stockton State College. Actually, Stockton, I keep getting the name. It's
Richard Stockton College of New Jersey.
Richard Stockton College of New Jersey. Okay. Be back in a couple minutes.
WOND Pleasantville.
WOND.
Hi, back. This is Mike Shepard, SHEPP Talking Fishing on Air. Back with Adam Aguiar, professor at the Richard Stockton College of New Jersey. All right, I got the whole thing right.
You got it, Mike.
Okay, I know you got a couple stories. We only have a couple minutes, so whatever you want to talk about.
All right, how about the stingray story?
Stingray story is fun.
All right, it wasn't this one in the picture, but it was one about the same size. I have a picture on my laptop if you want to see it after. But it was about 5-6 foot wingspan stingray, southern butterfly ray. There's 3 main types of stingrays that invade our waters in the summertime. There's cownose rays, southern stingrays, and one really close to them, rough-tail stingrays. And then actually, this big one is the southern butterfly ray. And at the casino pier, when it was still up before it went down, the southern butterfly rays would come by every once in a while, and it would be our goal to try to catch them. And well, anyway, so I ended up hooking up with one of these, and it took me into the beach after a long fight, about an hour. I had to jump off the side of the pier onto the sand to land it, but there was security guards down there because Snooki and JWoww were doing a photo shoot underneath the pier. So they kicked me off, and then my friend caught one, and he wasn't allowed down there because they called the cops on somebody else up on the pier for pouring water on their photo shooting light bulb that was just directly underneath the floorboards. So that was a story. So yeah, I had an interaction with Snooki.
You're from New Jersey.
I thought you liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're done. It's thank you for being here.
Oh, it was my pleasure, Mike. Anytime. I had fun. I was nervous, really nervous, as you can see. But
now you're not shaking anymore. Okay.
I'm still shaking a little bit.
All right, we'll be back next Saturday, 7 to 8 a.m. here on News Talk 1400 WOND.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for listening.
Thank you.